Hi, my name is Grief. Welcome back to the SCP Secret Files. Last we left off, we did Here Be Dragons, and that hurt. It was much for my poor soul. So far, that was one of my favorite. Let's see what's next. Initiating. Okay, back to read. I'm just going to read what's on the right. Okay. SCP-300 Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedure. SCP-300 is stored in a locked and climate-controlled container at site. Bleh. Experimentation on SCP-300 may only be performed with prior written permission from at least one Level 3 senior reader. Any observations made must be recorded for later analysis. Description: SCP-300 consists of an antique glass perfume bottle containing approximately 2.4 cc of an unidentified colorless liquid. When a drop of SCP-300 is extracted, and the drop is viewed through a standard optical microscope, an animated scene becomes visible. While no two drops have shown precisely the same scene, these scenes generally take the form of pastoral or woodland scenes consistent with that of Victorian-era England. Oh, my voice. Losing it. So far, attempts to analyze the exact chemical... I need some... Okay. So far, attempts to analyze the exact chemical components of SCP-300 have inexplicably failed, with spectrometers reporting wildly variant or false data, thus making attempts at replicating it impossible. Also invariably evaporates within 2 to 8 hours, being drawn outside of SCP-300 by all attempts of stabilizing the substance or controlling laboratory conditions. SCP-300 was first documented along with Redacted after being recovered from the attic in a row home in Redacted, UK on 1863, following a raid by agents of the Royal Society of the Security, Containment, and Protect of Anomalous Artifacts. 300 was transferred to SCP Foundation possession on 19. Yeah, grab all this red stuff now. Addendum. AXA security level panel personnel should see. Document 90B. Document 90A. Dr. Bleh. Notes. Experiment 12. Observation is going well. We have managed to develop a system to record and analyze the shifts in the cube almost as quickly as they occur. No correlation between shifts and any world events found yet. Experiment 48. We observed a 6-segment alignment today on the first side. It was noted and passed without incident. 2 hours later, a research assistant returned from the break room with news that a tsunami had occurred in the Indian Ocean, caused hundreds of thousands of deaths and extensive property damage. No correlation is currently known, but we will make note of it. Experiment 150. After our 120th alignment of the fourth side of the cube and 120th incident report in the lab, we are designating the fourth side as local and will implement safety measures tomorrow. Staff are discouraged from making bets regarding the outcome of alignments. It's gonna be terrible. That's just gonna screw up that country over there. Oh yeah, $10 says it doesn't. Experiment 172. 6-sided alignment was recorded this morning on the local side. Safety precautions, site was evacuated. 2 hours later, a containment breach occurred, but resulted in no loss of life due to the evacuation. Object determined to predict events, not cause them. First site designated as global. Upgrade to Euclid status requested. Current 240. Sets up our experiments today by attempting to modify the cube itself. D-class personnel makeshift SCP-90 immediately created a 10-segment alignment of its own. Second. Sorry about that. Experiment 172. A six-segment alignment was recorded this morning on the local side. Caution site Blatt was evacuated. Hours later, a containment breach occurred, but resulted in no loss of life due to the evacuation. Object determined to predict. Thought I heard the back door. Wanted some backup before I checked. Do you need? My roommate apparently heard our back door open. If I'm still alive by the end of this, know that it's a false alarm. Back to reading. Yeah, come downstairs, man. Okay. Okay, I'm back. It appears that our back door was unlocked. That somebody might have hit the window. Site Bleh was evacuated 2 hours later. 2 hours later, a containment breach occurred, but resulting in Noah's life. Okay, got that. Experiment 240. We set up our experiments today by attempting to modify the cube itself. When D-Class personnel Bleh attempted to make a shift, SCP-90 immediately created a 10-segment alignment of its own accord near the top left corner of the local side. Exactly 2 hours later, SCP Bleh broke containment and data expunged. Agents Bleh and Bleh were also lost during the incident. Recommended forced shift testing of SCP-90 postponed. Upgraded to heater status. Approved as SCP-90 is obviously capable of causing events of its own accord. Object may be sentient. So it predicts it, but it can cause it if it feels threatened, I guess. In conclusion, 193. A combination of different alignment patterns on its body can cause disastrous effects of differing scales. It is presumed that full completion of the item will result in a catastrophe of an unprecedented scale. SCP-90 appears to possess the ability to actively change alignment patterns at will in order to cause destruction. Man. Understanding memetics. Memetics are a type of information particle that contains supernatural abilities. In most circumstances, the medium that spreads the meme does not contain any supernatural ability. The meme itself is the sole carrier of supernatural ability. If, for example, a meme is written within a book, this does not mean that the book itself is a supernatural phenomenon. Only the meme within it contains supernatural elements. Memes do not have any direct physical influence on humanity, but all humans exposed to and have perceived the memetic SCP are at risk of being influenced by it. Be sure, memetic SCPs do not emanate any detectable forms of memetic rays or auras, and abnormal phenomena will take place only once a human perceives it. In short, memetic SCPs must first be understood before they can produce any anomalous phenomena. Incident Report 89814. On September 22nd, that's the day after my birthday, 1994, that's a year after my birthday, the first complete draft. I'm just assuming that my house is haunted. The first complete draft of SCP-898 was administered to 30 D-Class subjects, who were then locked into secure chamber number 34 in Site 12. Loudspeaker installed in the room began to play a recording of SCP-444 after all the subjects were safely locked behind the soundproof doors. 12 subjects attempted to break down the doors, presumably in order to escape. 10 fled to corners of the room and huddled in them, covering their ears, and 8 rushed to the speaker and attempted to tear it out of the wall. After some minutes, the latter subjects were successful, but they continued to show signs of extreme agitation after the recording was silenced. Subjects began to attack each other approximately 8 minutes later. The doors were unsealed, and security teams entered 30 minutes after. The majority of subjects were either dead or in critical condition, and the survivors had to be neutralized. Incident Report 898 on October 1st, 1994. The second complete draft. Modifications are detailed in data expunged of SCP-898 was administered to 30 D-Class subjects, who were then locked into secure chamber number 34 on Site 12. Once again, a loudspeaker installed in the room began to play a recording of SCP-444 after all the subjects were safely locked behind the soundproof doors. The subjects displayed very similar behavior to that described in Incident Report 89814 initially, but their agitation appeared to cease after Dr. Dahl, the technician overseeing the experiment, shut off the recording himself. Unaware that the microphone in his observation booth was turned on, he said aloud, "Well, it looks like the counter meme worked Guess I'll call it meme. Worked right this time. Some of the D-class subjects who were near the loudspeaker apparently heard this as they began to show signs of agitation and proceeded to fight amongst themselves or run from each other, starting a riot that eventually encompassed all of the subjects. Security teams had to neutralize several of the subjects, but the remaining ones surrendered. Excerpt from interview Dr. Granko. In there? Oh, have I put any of these in there? I think that was the... yeah, that was the second one. Excerpt from an interview with Dr. Granko. Since any mimetic compulsion by definition involves the inspiration of an idea in the target's mind, the most obvious defense mechanism was another type of inspiration, preferably one that would create a more powerful compulsion and override the first meme. As near as we could tell, the problem was that the counter meme was treating itself as an invading meme. If a person infected with SCP-898 became consciously aware that they were infected with SCP-898, 898 would activate. We call this auto-activation. The first complete 898 treatment also had an unfortunate side effect of looping. 898 would automatically detect itself once it had been activated once, and would keep activating over and over again. Although we were able to work out the looping problems in most cases, we could not prevent a loop in the case of auto-activation, and we never found a solution to auto-activation. The best we could do was use a workaround with amnestics, and try to make sure that knowledge of SCP-898 was generally known to Foundation personnel. SCP-898, test log 431992, subject D44589, infected with SCP-898 strain 3, and D44590, not infected. Test. The first subject would be locked into... do I need to keep doing this voice? I don't need to keep doing this voice. Test. The first subject would be locked into a soundproof room and provided with a written sample of SCP-444, and asked to copy it on another blank piece of paper. When that task was completed, a second subject went into the room. The first subject would verbally describe what he had written on the second subject. Results: initially appearing to be unaware of the copy, initially appeared to be unable to copy the text until he resorted to tracing over it. He was unable to describe what he had written to the other person, and finally resorted to showing the other person what he had copied. The person was isolated along with him. While he began to show symptoms of SCP-444 infection, the other did not, and eventually they became unable to communicate with each other. A long one, oh my gosh. 44591, infected with SCP-898 strain 4, and the other not infected. Results: one successfully copied the text and read it aloud to the other, while one was isolated along with the other. While the other began to show symptoms of SCP-444 infection, the first one did not, but they were still able to have some limited communication. Excerpt from interview with... oh my god, she's still talking. Our early attempts at making a counter meme toyed with the idea of I am having a bad time reading this. With the idea of compelling the infected subject to be blind or apathetic towards incoming memes, but those had even more serious drawbacks than the Berserk serum. In the worst case, our subjects would become effectively blind and deaf, unable to see or hear or read any language or sense anything else with powerful mental associations. In the best case, the subject would still be effective carriers of any meme they absorbed, even if they were not personally affected by it. In short, we have failed. Looking back on the last 3 years, it seems to me that all we've really done is figure out how to induce a lot of different mental disorders. 05 blank. I see. And you think that this is the reason enough to abandon the project? Franco. Yes, maybe not forever. But it's clear to me now that we just don't have the knowledge base to develop very effective memes of our own. Maybe in a few decades, when our knowledge of memetics and neurology is a bit more developed, we can pick up on this again. But for now, I don't think there is anything else constructive that we can do. In addition, given the current project safety assessment, we classified it from Euclid to safe class. Interesting. Ah, finally done with that. Carl! What happened, boss? There's a temporary archive that needs to be sorted. The other's in the field, so you'll have to take this one. Alright, leave it to me. This mission is an emergency, Carl. It is beyond your current level. I'm ready! But your recent performance has proven that you have the ability to accomplish it. Yes, I can do this. Remember, yes? Stay sane, and always in awe. Yes. Alright, get to it then. Secure. Contain. Protect. Consciousness intrusion operation record. Participants, director, executive. Oh my gosh, all these. Okay. I actually want to take a break here because of the incident with the back door. I feel like that makes a long enough video, and I will pick up the next video momentarily.